How shall I stand before thee but in silence? I will keep silent before thee. Not the silence of vacancy, but the vibrant hush where the heart listens, where the inner ear awakens to the still small voice. For it is out of the silence that the presence and the power of God comes. The deeper the silence, the greater the force that is felt. Be still and know that I am God. Not think about it, not argue it, not dress it in words, but know by a holy interior knowing. We live in a season of slogans. I am has become a banner on billboards, a melody in podcasts, a shiny toy on the spiritual counter, 2 letters, some affirmation, and a promise of quicker cars, softer landings, brighter lights. But let us extend the contrarian mercy to our own souls. I am is not a manifestation trick. I am is not a mental lever to pry open the vaults of heaven. I am is not a spell, not a mantra to bully the universe. I am is recognition of what eternally is, of the life that is already your life, the Christ that is already yourself, nearer than hands and feet, closer than breathing. The kingdom of God is within you, not outside, to be fetched by words, not in a book, to be borrowed by phrases, not in the opinions of friends, to be echoed until you grow hoarse. Within you, the entire premise of this hour is simple and severe. We will not attempt to make God do anything for us. We will yield to the God who is. We will not perform. We will behold. We will not strive. We will consent, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. I say to you, that Spirit is the I, that AM, the one life being you, the Father within who doeth the works. I once sat with a young man whose apartment was littered with sticky notes. I am wealthy. I am irresistible. I am invincible. His walls spoke loudly, but his heart had never fallen silent. We put down the pen, turned the notes face to the wall, and for 3 minutes we listened, no asking, no reaching, no describing. In that small hush, tears came of their own accord, not sadness, but recognition, not a claim made, but a presence felt. When we rose, nothing had been manifested, yet everything was different, because the root had been touched. So, come softly now. Keep this ear open, the inner ear. Let words grow thin. Let opinion grow quiet. We will, in the hours ahead, deconstruct the glitter and walk by the lamp of practice, frequent and simple. But the doorway is here in this first hush. I am before Abraham was. I am naming not the personal ego, but the indwelling Christ. Begin by listening. Begin by recognizing. Do not be satisfied with anything less than the felt presence. And in that holy recognition, let grace, not mental effort, unfold the way. Beloved, let us be plain. Why do the tricks fail? Because they ask the mind to do the work of spirit. They invite the tongue to harvest what only the heart can grow. Endless affirmations strain the mind, but they do not open the sanctuary. Talking about God, oh, how we have talked, does not yield the fruits of God. You can hammer the phrase I am against the door of heaven until your knuckles bleed, and the latch will not lift, for the latch is on the inside, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Not by mental power, not by the whip of repetition, not by the clench of desire, not by the glittering promise of a new technique. Spirit moves when spirit is recognized, and recognition is the quiet consent of a heart that has ceased reaching. I have watched faces grow drawn and eyes grow tired in the factories of self-improvement. A new formula every Thursday, a new seminar every season, a new sacred syllable to conquer Monday. Friends, hear the mercy in this correction. You are not wrong. You are weary. You are not unworthy. You are overworked by a religion of getting. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. The fatigue you feel is not from God. It is from chasing God's gifts as if they were somewhere else, as if supply were a distant warehouse and health an elusive bird. Chasing outcomes confirms separation. Every reach outward says, thou art not here. Every grasp repeats the lie, but beholding presence dissolves it. Turn and behold only God, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, and the distance falls away, and with it the labor. When Peter and John met the lame man at the gate, did they reach into a bag of slogans? Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. Such as I have the realized presence, the living Christ consciousness. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. That is not manipulation. That is communion. That is not getting. That is realizing. The fruit came because the root was in the secret place. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Dwell, not visit when the bills come due, not chant at the symptoms, but dwell until the Father within is felt as the doer. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. So let us lay down the spiritual gadgets and enter the holy simplicity, not to make a demonstration, but to be the place where God is revealed, not to force a harvest, but to let life ripen by grace. Put off the armor of mental effort. Anoint thine head and wash thy face. Slip back into the inner room. Shut the door and listen. We shift now from getting to realizing, from manipulation to communion, from noise to the still small voice. Slogans without conscious oneness cannot bear spiritual fruit. The good tree is planted by rivers of water, and its leaf does not wither. Return unto thy rest, O my soul, for the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. And in that rest, the works are done not by you, but as you by grace. What, then, does this holy name signify? I am is the universal name of the one Emmanuel, God with us. The Tao, the way that cannot be spoken without being diminished. Buddha nature, your original face before father and mother, the Christ within, the hope of glory. One life, one mind, one being, individualized as you, yet never divided, forever whole in itself. It is the same spirit that breathed through Abraham and Isaiah, through Shankara and Gautama, through Jesus the Christ. And it is the same spirit that breathes this very breath in you. In him we live and move and have our being. When the name rises within as I am, it is not the human person crowning itself. It is the infinite revealing itself as the life of this very moment. We have mistaken biography for being. I am John. I am Maria. I am a teacher. I am divorced. I am successful. I am afraid. These are garments stitched from time, roles that come and go with the seasons. I am is not a garment. It is the measureless life that wears all garments without ever becoming any of them. Not I am this or that, but I am without predicate, without ornament. Before Abraham was, I am. Do you see the difference? To say I am strong may be a thought about yourself. To know I am is strength itself, the presence that is strength, that is peace, that is wisdom, prior to your intending it, prior to your describing it. I am that I am, the voice told Moses, not a title to display, but a revelation of nature. God is your very life, your mind, your soul closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, not a helper over there whom you must persuade, but the life here that cannot be absent from itself. The Father within me, he doeth the works. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. These are not ornaments to hang in a chapel. They are descriptions of a fact that awaits realization. As a matter of spiritual truth, you are already one with God. When the heart consents to this, not in theory, but in felt knowing, identity is transposed out of labels and stories into living Christ consciousness. I sat once with a woman who introduced herself by her wounds. I am the one who was left. I am the one who failed. We spoke little. We listened. In that quiet, there came a simple shift, no fireworks, just a warmth like dawn. Afterwards, she said, I do not know what I am. I answered, good. Now you can know I am. In the days that followed, the same work, the same house, but a different center. The old sentences fell away as leaves, and the tree stood rooted alive. So remember, I am is recognition, not assertion. Discovery, not decoration. It is not a trick to secure outcomes, but a name that uncovers essence. Do not shout it to bend life. Let it rise to reveal life, not to aggrandize the person, but to unveil the presence that is the person's life. Let the name be holy upon your lips because it is holy within your heart. And as we turn again to silence, we will allow this name to become experience, the infinite invisible announcing itself where you are as you, by grace. How shall we let the name become flesh in us, as us, without strain, without ornament, in silence, not the silence of sleep, but the living hush of attention. Be still and know that I am God. Out of the silence, the presence and the power of God come. The deeper the silence, the greater the force that is felt, the steadier the peace that steals in like dawn over the waters. When Elijah had spent himself in earthquake and fire, there remained a still small voice, and it was there, quiet, unargued, that God was recognized. The voice is heard. It is never manufactured. It is received. It is not produced. Keep this ear open, the inner ear, not the outer ear that collects phrases and noises, but the ear of the heart that listens where no sound vibrates. Enter thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, shut it against wanting, shut it against describing. Pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The reward is not trinkets. The reward is God felt as your very life, the infinite, invisible, moving without words. In that moment, I am ceases to be a thought about God and becomes the warmth of God recognized, a presence closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Let us be practical. Take 1 minute, 60 quiet seconds chosen out of any hour and make of it a sanctuary. Sit or stand, eyes open or closed, but inwardly lay down words. No asking, no praising, no promising, no I am this or that. Only availability. If any phrase at all is used, let it be only to open the gate. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. Then be still and listen. Listen not for syllables, but for a settling, a softening, an interior aliveness. It may come as peace. It may come as a weightless weight upon the breast. It may come as nothing at all but a gentle rest. Do not reach for results. Reach for God, and even that, let go. For the Father within knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. Guard this inner room as sanctuary, not stage. Do not drag chairs into it for an audience. Do not hurry out with a report. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Secrecy ripens the fruit, display bruises it. In the holy quiet, resist the itch to measure, to compare today's silence with yesterday's, to grade yourself on visions or on lack of them. Not by might, not by mental power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The silence is not a technique to get God to speak. It is the atmosphere in which you discover God is already speaking and has been forever. As you honor this minute, this single draft from the spring, you will find that ideas about I am thin like mist before the sun, and the sun itself warms the face. That is the shift we seek. From saying to seeing, from repeating to realizing. And when the name is thus felt rather than framed, grace begins its quiet government, and life rearranges itself around presence. Now let us make plain what silence reveals. A home, not a stopover. The kingdom of God is within you, not in a temple made with hands, not in a mountain sunrise, not in a procedure or a person or a pilgrimage, but here within. The great error of religious striving is this: seeking the God who is already your life. We have run to meetings and mailed for methods. We have consulted opinions and borrowed convictions. Yet the Master said, abide in me, and I in you. And the psalmist promised, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Not visit, dwell. How do we dwell? With a gentle inward acknowledgement, repeated until it becomes our native posture. Here, Father, I rest in you. Not words to persuade, but words to place the heart where it belongs beneath the everlasting arms. Say it inwardly, and then listen. In that listening, the sense of separation thins, the inward nearness grows. Return to it again and again, not as work but as homecoming. In the marketplace or at the sink, between paragraphs or at a red light, here, Father, I rest in you. The Father within doeth the works. We abide, we consent, we let. Do not make of the secret place a weekend cottage. Make it your address. Let your comings and goings be out from it and back into it, until the line between out and in fades, and you discover that you never truly left. When fear whispers, do not reach for outer shields. Slip back to the inner shadow of the Almighty. When decisions press, do not consult the weather of opinion. Acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he shall direct thy paths. Guidance is natural to oneness. Supply flows where separation has ceased. Safety is not the product of fences, but of presence realized. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. This is the difference between life under management and life under grace. Under management, we canvass experts, compare formulas, and pray that our best guess holds. Under grace, we return to oneness, and from that oneness, wisdom rises of itself, quiet, certain, sufficient for the hour. My sheep hear my voice, not as thunder, not as argument, but as a rightness that needs no defense. One with God is a majority. One with God has nothing to fear, nothing to prove, nothing to advertise. Therefore, stop scattering yourself among remedies. Stop bargaining with place, time, and teacher. Honor them if they point you inward, but do not lean on them as if your life was somewhere else. The life of you is God, the mind of you is God, the soul of you is God, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Dwell there, live here. Keep this ear open in brief, faithful returns until the inner home becomes so established that even in noise, you are in the secret place. And in the secret place, all things are added, not by might, nor by power, but by his Spirit. Not by might, and not by mental power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. This is not poetry. It is the operating law of spiritual life. The strain you feel when you try to manage outcomes by thinking, by pleading, by calculating sequences and contingencies, that strain is your evidence that you have left the secret place and are standing again in the winds of selfhood. Come back. I can of mine own self do nothing, said the Master. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. When you accept this as your own confession, not as a line from a book, but as a living fact, something lets go inside. The shoulders drop, the breath deepens, trust begins to sprout where the clutch once lived. Hear me. Cease your demonstrations. Cease your bargains with God. Cease your self-treatment. Stop telling God what you need, when you need it, and in what color it should arrive. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Not to inform God, but to be informed of God, that is prayer. Not to coerce life into your sketch, but to behold life's own pattern revealing itself by grace, that is practice. Take no thought for your life. Consider the lilies. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added, not by your cleverness, not by your endurance, but added by grace, because separation has been surrendered. Look to the exemplars. When 5,000 were hungry, the Master did not convene a committee on logistics. He did not chant for bread. He looked up and gave thanks. That upward glance was not toward a distant sky, but toward the Father within, the eye that am. Grace multiplied what was at hand until there were baskets left over, effortless overflow. At the beautiful gate, Peter did not strain to project a force. He said, "Such as I have, give I thee." And the man rose. Such as I have conscious presence, the realized Christ, not human magnetism, not mind power, but the one doing its own works through a yielded servant. I sat with a businessman who kept 2 notebooks, one for affirmations, one for outcomes. He was exhausted, and so were his results. I asked him to destroy both. Instead, he gave me a look that said I was stealing his life preserver. But he consented to 3 minutes of silence 3 times a day, no requests, no plans, only, "Father, here I am." In a week, the phone that would not ring began to ring. An account he had hunted for months arrived through a friend he had forgotten. The urgency drained from his voice. He said, "I did nothing." I answered, "Precisely. The Christ performed all things for you. When supply seems thin, be still. When symptoms speak, be still. When timing confounds, be still. Whisper within, if you must use words at all. The Father within doeth the works. I rest. Let the inner rightness ripen before you move. Let ideas be given instead of manufactured. Let timing reveal itself instead of being forced. Grace orders supply. Grace orders health. Grace orders timing and direction without taking thought. Trust is not a mood you muster. It is the fragrance that rises when effort burns away on the altar of surrender. So lay your tools down, anoint thine head and wash thy face. Make of your heart a quiet altar, and consent, not to get, but to behold, not to push, but to yield, not to prove, but to abide. And then, one with God, you will find you are already a majority. The invisible government of grace will go before you and behind you and within you. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Let it be so, and watch the Father within do the works. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. There is one mind. If there is one mind, where would a second mind arise to invent disease, to maintain lack, to author sin? In the light of the Holy One, these discords are appearances, pictures on a screen, shadows with no substance. We do not fight them. We do not flatter them with our attention. We turn on the light. God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Not to wrestle darkness, but to witness light. Not to improve an illusion, but to behold reality. That is the healing stance. When a report of illness crosses your path, when a balance sheet groans, when a headline shouts fear, refuse the bait. Do not treat the symptom. Do not correct the ledger. Do not argue with the news. Behold God there, right there. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. A single eye does not dart from God to problem and back again. A single eye rests in God as all in all, until the appearance that borrowed your attention dissolves in the brightness of what is. An old practitioner taught me a lesson with a simple prop. She kept a small woven basket on a table. When a call came, she wrote the name on a slip and placed it in the basket. I asked what she held in there, cases, symptoms, fears. She smiled. There isn't any such patient. I'll tell you what's in that basket. God. Do you see the audacity of love in that? Not denial, but recognition. Not indifference, but adoration. To place a name in the basket and then see only God is to refuse a second power, a second presence, a second law, one mind, one life, one love, being all. In practice, it is this. Close your eyes to appearances and inwardly acknowledge, Father, thou art the life of this one. Thou art the substance of this situation. Thou art the law of harmony here. Then be still, wait, listening, until a gentle assurance rises peace, a soft warmth, a rightness without argument. At that point, the case is finished. Not because you have conquered anything, but because you have ceased to confer reality upon that which has none. Recognition ends, resistance, light dissolves shadow. Understand, we are not repairing a dream, trimming its frayed edges, negotiating with its villains. We are waking within it to the real. Waves may dance, winds may lift their voices, but the ocean does not break. The screen is not harmed by the film. The sun is not stained by the passing cloud. I am the Lord, and there is none else. Hold to that, not fiercely, but faithfully. Hold to it at the bedside, at the counter, in the council meeting. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good, the good that is God alone beheld. One with God is a majority. Keep the eye single, keep the heart quiet, keep this ear open. And as you behold only God closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, you will watch appearances thin like mist, not by might nor by mental power, but by his Spirit. We heal by beholding God alone. If we would have this beholding become stable rather than occasional, there is a price to fulfill, not money, not heroics, but the coin of attention, paid in small, faithful offerings. Pray without ceasing is not an instruction to chatter at God. It is a rhythm of returning many times a day into the secret place. 12 to 20 brief openings in 24 hours, 2 or 3 minutes each. This is the price. Not to accumulate merit, but to keep the inner ear keen. Not to wrest answers, but to remain at home, where the Father within orders all things by grace. Anchor them, or the day will carry you off like a leaf on the current. Upon waking, before the foot touches the floor, turn within. Here I am, Father. Mid-morning, when activity is gathered, speed, stop 2 minutes. Be still, listen. At noon, before food, before talk, enter the closet of your heart. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Mid-afternoon, when the mind grows thin, return. Evening, as lamps are turned, and the world begins its noise, again return. Before sleep, return, and let the last wordless recognition be God, not a headline. 6 anchors, and between them, the little beads of silence that you add as the Spirit prompts, until a whole rosary of hush is formed across your day. Let the method be holy, simplicity, no affirmations, no rehearsals, no bargaining. Shut the door within, lay down wanting, keep this ear open. Listen for nothing you can quote, but for the living sense of presence, a soft weight of peace, a rightness that needs no defense. If a phrase is needed to open the gate, let it be only, be still and know that I am God. And then abandon even that to pure listening. Not words, but recognition. Not effort, but consent. The Father within, he doeth the works. Thread these pauses into your goings and comings. Before a call, pause. Before a meeting, pause. Before you open the door, the email, the ledger, pause. Before meals, pause. As you sit in the car before turning the key, pause. In the airport queue, pause. At the elevator, pause. Between tasks, pause. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. These are not interruptions. They are the way itself, a consecration of transitions wherein grace gets the right of way. And now, a guard for the gate. Reduce the noise by 90%. Newspapers, radios, the endless scrolls and chatter. Cut them to a thin stream, not as ascetic virtue, but as protection for the hush in which the still small voice speaks. My sheep hear my voice, but not while the goats of opinion bleat in the pasture of the mind. Let your practice be secret. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Do not tell your minutes, take them. 2 or 3 minutes only that. Many times, not long marathons that flatter the self, but brief, faithful returns that starve separation and feed awareness. In a week, a tone will begin. In a month, a habit. In a season, a home. Fulfill the price. And watch how life moves from being managed to being governed quietly, invisibly, by grace. Begin now, 1 minute, then again and again. Keep this ear open. Let I am be realized often, briefly, truly, and the Father within will do the works. Now let us bring this recognition into the lanes where we live, supply, health, relationships in the same simplicity, without drama, without bargaining, only recognition and obedience. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Not to add things by talking at them, but to let them be added as shadows follow substance. Supply first. Stop asking for money. Money is a form. God is substance. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Sit quietly and recognize God as the sufficiency, the very life of your business, your home, your ledger, yourself. In that inward consent, the clutch for outcomes loosens, and a quiet rightness begins to flow. Then act, as led only then. It may be a nudge to forgive an old debt, to pay a small bill before a large one, to write one letter of gratitude instead of 10 proposals. It may be to prune an offering, or to visit one person with no pitch at all. Recognition first, movement after. I knew a shopkeeper who ceased his daily litany for customers and gave 3 brief minutes, morning and noon, to the Father within, acknowledging God as the substance of every transaction. In a week, without fanfare, a supplier shifted terms in his favor, a neighbor began sending her friends, an old account returned. He said, "I did nothing unusual." Precisely. He sought the kingdom and forms arranged by grace. Health, the same. Do not battle symptoms. Do not argue with a report. Do not bully the body with affirmations. He restoreth my soul. Go within, be still, and rest the mind in God as the life, law, and substance of you. Let peace come. Wait until a gentle assurance arises, a virtue felt as in the gospel when the hem was touched. From that quiet, follow the wise guidance that comes simple, unheroic, evident in its calm. Close the book and sleep. Take the walk. Choose the plain food. Keep the appointment, or cancel it. Not to defy the world, not to dramatize faith, but to obey the inner shepherd. The body becomes orderly as thought rests in God. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Relationships drop demands. Stop approaching your brother or sister with a shopping list for their soul. Henceforth know we no man after the flesh. Behold the Christ in the other, behind their noise, behind their story, and then respond from peace. Before you enter the room, pause. Father, show thyself as this meeting. Then listen. It may be yours to speak a soft answer that turneth away wrath. It may be yours to keep silence that honors the presence. It may be yours to make amends without explanation. I watched a home heal not by winning an argument, but by one spouse choosing, day after day, to see only God in the other and to answer only what peace permitted. Little by little, the tone of the house changed, not by power, not by might, but by his spirit. This is the integration. Begin with recognition and let life arrange itself around it. Not to use God to fix forms, but to know God and watch forms take their place. Acknowledge him in all thy ways, supply, health, relationships, and he shall direct thy paths. Keep this ear open. Seek realization first, then obey the next quiet rightness, and leave the rest to grace. Now a word of warning spoken in love, for subtlety is the ego's favorite veil. The personal sense will try to seize this holy name and use it as a lever. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. It is not superstition. It is spiritual hygiene. To mouth "I am" as a charm while clinging to the sense of a separate self is to hypnotize the mind with phrases and call it prayer. Watch for the signs. Compulsive affirming that grows tight around the chest. Result checking as if you were timing seedlings with a stopwatch. Spiritual exhibitionism that cannot keep a secret. Announcing your fasts, your meditations, your downloads, and then peering at faces to see if they are impressed. That is not recognition. That is theater. We do not manipulate matter with thought. We do not push forms around with will. Not by might, not by mental power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. I am is not a tool in the hand of the person. I am is the presence that dissolves the person in love and stands revealed as the only doer. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. If the inner atmosphere fills with strain, with bargaining, with timelines for God, you have stepped out of the secret place and back into management. Stop at once. Keep the pearls secret. Protect the current. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Anoint thine head and wash thy face. Hide your prayer from your own pride as well as from the street. Speech dissipates unripe fragrance. Report nothing until grace has borne its own witness in quiet outcomes, and even then prefer to remain unknown. Secrecy is not shame. It is sanctuary. And if you drift, and you will drift, make the simple course correction. Pause where you stand. Drop the request. Drop the picture of how it should look. Inwardly say, if you must say anything at all, here I am, Father. Or, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then listen. Keep this ear open for 30 seconds, for a minute. Wait until the clutch loosens and a soft rightness returns. Do not pick up the project again on the way out of the silence. Go out empty and let the next step present itself. If it does not, be still until it does. Constancy over intensity. Depth over display. 2 minutes many times will do more than 2 hours once for applause. I watched a sincere student exhaust herself with, I am rich, I am well, I am loved, and every night check the ledger, the pulse, the mailbox, as if God were late. We burned the schedule of results, and she gave 3 quiet pauses a day to pure recognition, no requests. In a month, she said, I forgot to worry. That is the fruit. Not fireworks, not boast peace, and the Father doing his own works. So hold the name as holy recognition, never as a lever of the personal will. Be still and know. Keep the secret place inviolate. Guard against compulsion, against counting, against display. Yield, listen, and consent. One with God is a majority, but let it remain a whisper within, not a banner without, and the presence will govern the forms without your strain. Now let us gather, not to pool our problems, not to compare our visions, but to be of one mind and one intent, a touch of the Christ. When the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. One accord, one place. This is the secret of the communal field. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Not gathered in a name as syllables, but in the realization of the name as presence. Come then, without cases, without plans, without curiosity about another's path. Come for one thing only. God realized as the life of all. Sit together in silence. No advising, no explaining, no comparing, no one presiding but the Spirit. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Let us enter, shut the door within, and keep this ear open together. For 10 minutes, for 15, for 20, we take our hands off one another and off the world. We surrender every technique to the living hush. If any phrase at all is used to open the gate, let it be inward and brief. Speak, Lord, thy servants hear. Then be still. Out of the silence, the presence and the power of God comes. The deeper the silence, the greater the force felt, not as pressure, but as peace. Make the welcome universal, for the one we adore wears many garments. Abraham's God, the Christ of Jesus, the quiet of the Buddha, the wisdom of Shankara, the Tao unnameable, all speak of one mind, one life, one love. Names differ. Reality is one. Let each sit under their own vine and fig tree of language, and none make afraid. Be ye all of one mind, not by agreement of phrases, but by surrender to the one who is the mind of us all. In such a company, influence radiates without words. The air seems to sweeten. The temperature of a room changes. Worries forget themselves. Old grievances loosen their grip. We do not send thought. We do not project will. We do not fix. The Christ performs all things for us and through us as quiet witness, like a lamp set upon a stand, not striving to shine, simply being what it is. Light goes out and does what light does, reveals. How good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. There the Lord commanded the blessing, one with God as a majority. And when the ones gather with God as their only agenda, that majority is not arithmetic. It is authority, grace, establishing itself as order in hearts and homes and streets. Assemble in living rooms, in shops before the doors open, in classrooms before the bell, in churches without bulletin or sermon, just a circle of hush. Come without asking, depart without debrief. Let the fruit speak where they must, and even then prefer to remain unknown. Do this faithfully, and you will see collective stillness does not add more selves to the room. It amplifies the singular presence we each are until the whole place whispers, not I, but Christ liveth in me. Beloved, let us seal this in the heart. I am is not a spell upon circumstance, not a lever to pry open doors. I am is holy recognition, the Christ within, the Father present, the one life being, you and me. Not mental force, but grace. Not fighting error, but beholding God. Be still and know that I am God. Out of the silence, the presence and the power of God comes. The deeper the silence, the greater the peace felt. Not pressure, not excitement, but the quiet authority of the kingdom that is within. Therefore, take this vow, simple and serious, for 7 days, 12 to 20 times a day, for 2 or 3 minutes each time. Enter the secret place. Shut the door within. No pleading, no outlining, no looking up and out. Look within. Listen. Trust. Whisper if you must. Here I am, Father. Or speak, Lord. Thy servant heareth. And then be still. Morning before your foot touches the floor. Before meals. Before calls. As you sit in the car. Between tasks. At noon. At dusk. Before sleep. Keep the rhythm like breath. And keep a small page at hand. No long entries. No analysis, only a brief witness to grace. Felt a hush before the meeting words were given. Or peace rose, fear dropped, or knew to wait. Answer arrived. Close the page and return to life. Let the record be altar stones, not trophies. Stop pleading. Stop rehearsing needs in God's ear, as though the infinite were uninformed. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of, before ye ask him. Stop looking up and out, bargaining with time and place. Turn within. The kingdom of God is within you. Keep this ear open. Live this next week without taking thought. Cease the anxious plot. Refuse the private management, and watch how wisdom, unpurchased and unpushed, moves you step by unhurried step. Take no thought, but seek ye first the kingdom, and forms will take their proper places. Let the Christ within perform all that concerns you. Make the Master's confession your own. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Say it not to make something happen, but to consent to what already is. Then walk into kitchens and shops, onto trading floors and hospital wards, into classrooms and council rooms, with a soft interior hush that says without words, one with God is a majority. Judge not according to the appearance. Behold God, acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he shall direct thy paths. Now receive this quiet blessing. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and give thee peace. Peace I leave with you, not as the world giveth. Carry this hush-like fragrance. Let it go before you and come behind you. 7 days of faithful returning, and then another 7, and another, until the secret place is home. Walk in quiet recognition, moment by moment, and let grace do the works.